Done by Noon podcast. Today we're talking with James Patrick about the workout plan for your brand.
You're listening to the Done by Noon podcast, a podcast for entrepreneurs who want to achieve more by noon than others in a full day. Serial entrepreneur Dave Ruel and his co-host Chris Lopez share the strategies that will help you optimize your productivity, performance, and lifestyle so you can reach new heights in your business and life. So if you're ready to become the most efficient and effective entrepreneur you know, you're in the right place. Welcome to the show.
JP, my man.
What is going on, Dave? Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you. Good to hear you. We linked up on your podcast last time, and I was a guest. I'm returning the favor and having you as a guest. But we're gonna have a fun time today because you are a man of multiple interests, but we share that commonality of coming from the fitness world. And what I say is that what I like about you is that you offer kind of a different perspective because I think your main trades, like how you got started, is actually as a fitness photographer, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, it depends how far back you want to trace that timeline. Originally, it was journalism. And the idea, I guess, was I was just going to be a reporter because I didn't know what else was really in front of me. But after working as a reporter, a camera was put in my hands. That led into photojournalism. And that was like, oh, well, this can be a thing now. I can actually build something creating imagery versus just the written word.
So that turned out into a long career. You're an award-winning photographer. You're a best-selling author. You're coaching entrepreneurs in the fitness space. You have a very successful podcast. What else? You have the annual Fitposium that you produce as well. It's an annual conference for fitness people, right?
Going on 7 years of Fitposium.
7 years.
Hard to believe.
It's insane, man. So you've been at it for a long time, and you have that book too called it is called the Fit Business Guide, a workout plan for your brand. So, coming from the world, and I was like, on the other side when I first started, in the early 2000s, trying to make my way into the fitness space and competing. And the goal at the time was like always to get on the cover of a magazine. That was kind of the ultimate exposure per se, right? And I feel like you see a lot of guys or a lot of people still have that perception of, if I'm going to make it to the cover of this or that magazine, there you go. I'm going to be famous and done, famous and good. So what do you see is like, you still see this mistake of people still doing that or thinking that?
It's interesting. It's a misperception of how leverage works. The thought is once I achieve something, then everything else will just be done for me. So that ideation applies to, let's just say, so you mentioned getting on the cover of a magazine. You mentioned, or one of the things I'll mention is like, let's say getting a pro card in the fitness competition world,
Yes.
Becoming a sponsored athlete, like a supplement company sponsors you. There's these ideas that once this happens, that after that, everything else will just be so easy. And I'll share a story. I had a client who came to me because we work with so many clients. I mean, even to this day, the number one question I get asked is, how do I get published? How do I get featured in a magazine? So I had this client come to me. This is probably 8 years ago. And they said, I'd love to be featured on the cover of a magazine. I said, well, you got the right look. You got a good brand story. Let's build a marketing package. Let's circle it around. Let's see what happens. And off a single photo shoot, she landed not one, not two, but 3 magazine covers. Okay. So 3 magazine covers. I followed up with this client about a year later just to check in to see how she was doing, assuming, Dave, that she was just swimming in business. 1 year later, I talked to her, says, hey, how are things going? I haven't talked to you in a while. She says, well, I'm not in the industry anymore. I said, what do you mean? She says, well, I didn't get any business. So what do you mean you didn't get any business? We got you onto 3 magazine covers. How did you not get business? She said, well, I had no idea what to do with all the attention. And that was it. That was that realization of, Okay, so I spent 7 years working in marketing. I understand that universal language of how marketing applies. We don't just build awareness, we build awareness with an intention of leveraging that awareness to convert it into clients. She didn't understand that application, so she just sat there in her 5 seconds of fame. And guess what? You're on a magazine cover. That's out for 30 days. And after 30 days, I have someone else on that magazine cover. So if you're not capitalizing on this attention, if you're not leveraging this, that window is going to pass. And that's when we started to realize, oh, there's an opportunity here to teach health and fitness professionals what that marketing side is.
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I've seen. A lot of you see a lot of fitness pros that, you said, brand ambassadors, for example, or sponsored, they're sponsored by a supplement. The truth is, a lot of these people don't even get paid to be sponsored. They get paid in supplements. Actually, I've seen brands actually not even paying in supplements. They were giving like a 50% discount on their supplements to be a brand ambassador. I was like, this is so much bullshit. You're not even sponsoring for real, right? On an overhyped supplement. And you're right. People miss the boat on that. It's brand awareness, but it's limited in time. And if you don't leverage that, with an online platform, with the infrastructure that you can have now, especially online, you're missing the boat. So, what are your? I would say, what would you advise someone who still thinks that, okay, well, if I'm going to go on be on the cover of a magazine, I'm going to be set, or if I'm getting the attention of a supplement brand, what would you say to direct their attention? Maybe like 2 to 3 action steps to. Actually, I think it's good to have that, but what can they do now in order to leverage it and getting better results?
So I think the first thing to look at is the two biggest misconceptions when it comes to about any earned media. Okay, so let's earn media as in getting published, but also means landing a podcast feature like this. All of it's earned media. It's having another platform distribute information about you and your brand and whatever it is that you're working on. So the two biggest misconceptions, one is you got to be a celebrity. And if you're not a celebrity, it's not for you. Well, I've shot 500 magazine covers in my career. Less than 10% were celebrities. I've shot thousands and thousands and thousands of interior features. Less than 1%, I'd say less than 0.5% were celebrities, which meant 99+% of people earning these media features are just individuals who want to earn media features. The second misconception is once I do something really big, i.e. get a pro card, then magazines will notice me and then they'll come to me. They're not looking. And the reason they're not looking is they're over inundated with people who are approaching them. All right. Yeah. People are approaching them with, hey, here's something I'm working on. Here's an opportunity. Here's my brand story. So once we understand the misconception, we realize that anyone can earn media. Once you realize anyone can earn media, then it's about why do you want to earn media? And I think there's 3 reasons why people want to earn media. The one is vanity. And if it's vanity, call it vanity and just call it that. And whatever you have to do to achieve your vanity, fine. That's fine. But no, it's not going anywhere else. And there are certain publications or certain media outlets that maybe I, as a photographer, target only for vanity reasons. Like it would be cool as hell to have my image on the cover of, I don't know, GQ. Wouldn't do much for my career and where I want to take my career, but it'd be cool to do it, right? Yeah. So vanity. So I might target certain outlets for vanity. Second reason, brand authority or brand credibility. All right. So there are certain outlets that a health and fitness professional might target only because when someone sees that they were featured in this publication, it looks really, really, really good for their credibility. Third reason is lead generation. I'm targeting this publication because this is going to generate leads into my business. Now, 2 and 3 might sound similar. They're not. So, and I'll give an example within the female health and fitness industry. You could say, let's just say the difference between, we'll say Oxygen magazine and Strong Fitness magazine. Mm-hmm. Someone says, or, I'll make it even more contrasting. Inside Fitness magazine, also out of Canada, and Oxygen magazine. Someone says, I want to be in Inside Fitness magazine. That would be great for authority and credibility. Wow, look, they're in Inside Fitness magazine. That is not going to generate a single lead for you unless you're targeting health and fitness pros. No one who's not in the fitness industry picks up that magazine. It is an industry magazine. Okay, so people, let's just say you're a coach who specializes in weight loss transformations. You're not going to get a single client because they read your story in Inside Fitness magazine. But it looks really good when you show your potential clients, look what I earned. Look at this feature here. Now take Oxygen. Oxygen, people pick up Oxygen magazine because they want to learn a workout, because they want to get some great recipes, because they want to make a change within their life. So you have a better opportunity for lead generation in a publication like Oxygen, which also does authority and brand building. But you start to see there's different publications you might target based on what your goals are. So I think, Dave, the first step is really, why am I doing this? What is the intention behind this? And then you can start to realize, what are the outlets, be it magazines, podcasts, digital online features? What are the outlets I need to target to achieve the specific goals that I have for my brand or my business? And you just put them into a list with the reason why you're targeting this publication versus that online outlet.
Well, exactly. And I think, nowadays, and you've seen the transition from world, like I would say paper world where, magazines were hot, to now a digital world where almost anybody can have a platform. Mm-hmm. And what I've noticed is that, and, you said it, like a lot of fitness pros, they're having the pro card is the goal. It's like, okay, that's the ultimate. What they don't realize is that, no, that's just a new beginning. You're now a rookie on the pro circuit. And unless you're really gifted, and it's a small fraction of the population, and we're only going to know it's going to last for, a few years, maybe. Some do, some have longevity, but, maybe like what? A pro fitness career is what? 5 years, 6 years, maybe 10 years for some of them. But you're not going to be at your peak for long. Right. And you realize that even that doesn't mean much, and we've seen that, especially like, remember the WBFF days where Paul Dillett had the WBFF, and they were pretty much handing out pro cards because they wanted to fill their pro circuit, and a lot of people were coming out, oh, I'm a WBFF pro, I'm a pro fitness. That's great. But ultimately, that's not going to do anything for, your brand. Right. So now there's an opportunity to really leverage, different platforms like Instagram. Podcasting is a big. YouTube, I mean, for fitness is huge. I mean, I see there's two guys here actually from the Maritimes that are crushing. They're kind of, I would say, I don't know the game of the YouTube game, but they're crushing on YouTube standard. That's Greg Doucette, who's from Nova Scotia, and there's that little kid Jeff Nippard, who's from Newfoundland. And I remember this guy because I was a judge at his first show. And next thing I know, and Lee Hayward and I were judges at his first show, and talked to Lee. And Lee's been an OG in the fitness space, on the online fitness space. And we're like, well, this guy is just crushing it on YouTube. I don't know how many like followers he has now, but I think it's in the million subscribers on his channels, right? But these guys were not pros. Actually, no, Greg is a pro. Greg is pro, but who are not necessarily like top pros, or even like, I don't think Jeff has any. I don't even know if he competed even again, but they were still. I think they're the most successful, or maybe the most financially successful, bodybuilders maybe on the planet, and yet they don't compete on that. They don't seek that attention. They found the attention that they needed on different platforms, and they were able to leverage that. And build their brands, online. YouTube is one thing. I mean, are you a big fan of you? You like YouTube marketing? I find like it's a lot of telling, calling people out and things like that. I find like it's, I don't know.
It's something that mystifies me in the most addictive way, in the sense that I am actively trying to navigate it, learn from it, and figure it out. Where I've had videos on YouTube that have surpassed 50,000 views, and I've had videos on YouTube that my mother has watched, and only my mother, and I'm aware of this.
Yeah, it's a very, very like weird space, and I get it. Like when we launched Anabolic Cooking, for example, that was back in 2009. There were very limited, amounts of videos online. You could just have some, you could SEO the title and have a little like keywords in the description, and you would rank. I think we ranked like, I can't remember. I got to check, but there were some videos with like the high 600,000-700,000 views on them. And it's like, we didn't even try hard. Mm-hmm. But now I think it's a game where, would you advise people to go multi-platform, or to just own like one platform and like crush it there? Like what's your brand? I would say, what would you advise as a brand strategy
in
2021?
It's interesting. And this goes back to your goals. So if I were to look at, let's just say my goals were lead generation, it would behoove me more to procure digital features being features on a magazine's website, literally features on their Instagram, features on a podcast. That is going to generate more direct leads than landing in a print magazine. Why? Because if someone's looking at my story, my work in a print magazine, well, then they have to pull out another device to look me up later, if they even choose to, versus they see a really cool feature that I did on a website. All they have to do is click my name. Now they're directly in my funnel. And when it comes to our own content curation, I mean, really, when you look at marketing, it falls into attraction, so awareness building. From there, you have to nurture your audience. So that's content marketing. And then from there is conversion, which is that third phase. So, when you're looking at that nurture phase and what platforms to be on, you're on the platforms that your audience is on. And what I look at, particularly with, there's all this rhetoric about how, we're in just a content world and content is king. If you're not pumping out more content, well, then you're falling behind your competition, which is pumping out more content. And I get that. And I agree with it, with a giant asterisk. And that giant asterisk is we still have to run our businesses. And if we're just creating content for 12 hours a day, when do we actually do the work? So what I look at is a strategy where I create main pieces of content about once a week. And a main piece of content for me could be a video. So I'll create a video once a week. Now, I will then chop up that video 12 different ways and put it across any platform that I'm trying to get a reach on. So I could pull the audio from the video, that becomes my podcast. I can pull a 1-minute clip, that becomes an IG post. The video itself goes to Facebook, it goes to IGTV, it goes to YouTube. The transcript from it becomes a blog, also becomes my email newsletter. There's so much content I can pull off a single main piece of content. Video is the best form of it. Podcasting would be the second closest. But I can pull my audio from a video and that becomes my podcast. This is how I can create lots of content without spending so many hours every single day. And I once had a client says, well, what app do you use to post onto all these platforms? I said, oh, it's this new app. It's called Copy and Paste. I'll go into one, I copy, and then I go into another and I click paste. Don't make this overcomplicated. Make a system that is simple for you. But ultimately, where are you? You're in the places that your clients are or your prospective clients are.
Exactly. People aren't going to buy because you are. I think the fact that you are, let's say, you turned pro or you've done a cover or whatever it is, like, yeah, it might be something that will influence the decision to work with you, let's say on the, on the grand scheme of things. But really, people just want to know you and trust you. Mm-hmm. Right. So landing just one piece is not enough. It's constant game of, doing the reps, going there and producing content. And as you said, it doesn't need to be complicated. I think for fitness people, for example, I think video based and image based is always probably the best way to go because people are going to see you. People are going to understand, know your style and see if you want to do that. And you don't need, here's the thing. People think that they need that huge following or that huge, audience in order to make it. And trust me, even if you have 1,000 subscribers, which it's 1,000 people, right? 1,000 people looking at your stuff, but you keep producing great content. You show your life, you show how you do it, you show how you work. This is how people are going to start working with you. And there's a former client of me, like back in the days, I helped her, actually did her diet for her first show. Her name is Tess Franklin. I think Tess listens to the podcast, but Tess has done, she's been doing that for more than 10 years now. And she doesn't have a huge following, but she's consistent with her, her documentation, I would say, of her lifestyle. She has 3 kids. She's in fantastic shape. She trains people online. And she gives them great results, but she won the contest for Oxygen. So she was on Oxygen magazine, which is cool for her. But, the main thing is that people relate to her by watching her lifestyle, how she, what her kids eat, how she manages her marriage, with John, doing on a daily basis, how she manages her workout, her struggles, loose skin, things like that. And that influences people. And she has, I don't know, I got to check, but a couple thousand people on her Instagram, right? So you don't need that huge platform you don't need to be a celebrity, in order to make it work. you know.
I look at some of my top earners and my clients. You will not have heard of them because they do not have that Instagram celebrity status. They're somewhere hovering around 1,000 to maybe 3,000 followers, but yet these are the ones passing that 500,000 gross revenue mark every year.
Because they're very, very targeted on the people that they serve, and people are willing to pay, you know, more in order to work with them because they're highly qualified. You don't need that mass appeal. You know, I think this is where vanity is actually becomes a business killer in that space, is that it does the vanity metrics don't matter. And, you know, and honestly, I think it feels good to see good numbers, but on the grand scheme of things, it does not matter.
Well, what would feel better, to see a massive Instagram following or to see a massive bank account?
100%.
And that's,
You know?
I mean, really, that's what it comes down to, which is, okay, can having a large social following be a negotiating strategy? Yes, but not if you don't have substance to back it up. Meaning, substance is always going to overall. We look at the people who are earning features or building their brand awareness, leveraging media outlets. It's not because of their social following. It's because of the value that they're offering to that media outlet. So just to be clear, when someone's earning media, they're not going to an outlet to say, please feature me. I'd love to be featured. No one cares. They're going to an outlet to say, this is what I'd like to do for your outlet. This is an article I'd like to contribute. This is a topic I would like to dive into. This is a conversation that I believe is important to your readers, and I can contribute to this. This is giving value to those readers. And when you're offering value, who cares what your social following is? You're giving value. You're showing the value right in the content that you're putting in front of that outlet.
No, exactly. So guys at home, if there's something that, you know, you're a fitness pro or you are an expert in your field, you don't need that huge following in order to, you know, really get started, not just get started, but thrive, you know, in business. I think the main key there is learning to become an entrepreneur in the process, you know. And I think this is when, and we do a lot of parallels in the book, for example, and everything that we talk about, is that I think that being a fitness pro or fitness, a fitness, not necessarily pro, but fitness, you know, enthusiast, or having gone through, you know, the process it's an advantage in business that will bring you the discipline that most people don't have. However, you will probably replicate the same mistakes you did early on in your careers, right? And I think, you know, if we can switch maybe the conversation to even your story, James, is that there's a process of learning to become an entrepreneur. It's changing your identity from an athlete or I would say a fitness person to a business person, right? But the athletic requirements, whether it's in sports or entrepreneurship, are very, very similar. You're just going to have to take these skills and apply it to entrepreneurship. And I think a lot of us, and maybe we can save, you know, a lot of pain for a lot of people there, is that, you know, most of us did the mistake of not understanding that early enough. That, okay, it doesn't, like, I'm not starting from scratch. There's things that I've learned in my career, you know, self-awareness, self-discipline, respecting your limits, you know, understanding your DNA. That's extremely important, right? So you have to take that. What are the mistakes that you personally, James, have made transitioning, I would say, into entrepreneurship?
You know, I think the biggest problem is that we were never really taught how to manage what we were going to be getting ourselves into. And, you know, when I look at, you know, my time in college, I learned how to be a journalist. I didn't learn how to ever get a job as a journalist. So upon graduation, I am all of a sudden, and so many entrepreneurs are all of a sudden indoctrinated with this ideology that if you're not successful, it's just because you're not working hard enough. And this hustle mentality. And I allowed that to become my entire being, to the extent that I had landed a full-time job in marketing. I was on 7 professional trade organizations at the same time. I was on the boards of 4 of them. I was president of 3 of them. And, you know, my entire life is predicated upon one meeting after another, one networking event after another, one cocktail event after another, one client wine and dine after another. And I keep reaching these milestones within my career, but I'm never allowing myself to actually celebrate these milestones or enjoy these milestones because, well, I achieved it, which meant it must have been easy enough. I should just work even harder. I should just put in even more hours. And it got to a point in my career where I was just tired every single day. I had this massive fatigue. I go to my doctor and he's like, James, what the hell are you doing to yourself? I'm like, well, I'm working. I'm an entrepreneur. Obviously you just don't get it because you're on the other side of the stage. He says, James, look at this. You've gained a substantial amount of weight in a relatively short amount of time. Your blood sugar is almost pre-diabetic. You have to watch what you're eating. Your blood pressure is so I'm in my 20s at this point. He says, your blood pressure is so bad that if you don't fix it fast, I'm going to have to put you on blood pressure medication. If you don't make changes fast, you are going to die very young. And that for me was this like splash of cold water in my face. I'm like, well, wait, how do other people do it? Like, are they just a better genetic makeup than I am? And what I realized was that it was not the ability to work longer, although yes, there are phases where you have to hustle. I get that, but it's the ability to work smarter to the goals that we are setting for ourselves. And I wasn't even really setting real goals for myself. I was just working at whatever was in front of me at the time.
Yeah, fitness pros or fitness people, they're great at doing that for their body, but usually like bringing that to entrepreneurship, this is where they have a hard time understanding. We all do that when we start working out. We just overdo it. We want to train 7 days a week. We think that we're going to get better results because we train more. And guess what's going to happen? You get a diminishing return. It's actually not the way it works. You actually get less results. And people are like, well, how come I'm not getting the results that I want? Well, you're working out too much. Well, what do you mean? Well, it's not. Like, there's actually a sequence to have. There's rest and recovery that needs to be involved. There's load management that needs to be involved. You need to start periodizing, your workouts. So once you start doing that, now you start seeing results and you bring structure. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't. When they bring that to entrepreneurship, they don't see it at first, and they make the same mistakes because the culture tells you hustle, work hard, more. And I mean, this is such bullshit in the industry, like in the entrepreneurial world, to say that, because it's exactly like working out. Yes, you will have to work hard. Yes, you want to build chest muscles. Yes, you will need to pump some iron, and you will need to, bench press some weight, and it's going to be hard and you're going to struggle, and that's fine. That's part of the process. However, if you do the same thing for business, like that doesn't mean that it comes easy. Working smart is one thing, yes, but you have to start work. You got to understand that you will need to work hard. You will need to work smart as well, because, like, for example, bench pressing a lot of weight with shitty form is not going to lead you where you want to go. You will get injured. Same thing with work. You want to do more work, or you want to do, heavier, you want to have heavier workloads, but if you don't do it smart, you will end up being injured. And that means, burning out, meaning losing your focus, losing your drive. That can really, really break your career or your entrepreneurial ambitions. So that's very important to bring these concepts back to, entrepreneurship, and understanding that there's a reason to do what you do. And we all do that. So I know we've talked, privately, James, like that, with your approach to work, but you took kind of a similar approach, and you said like there were a lot of commonalities between, what we teach at EFIC and the road that you took was that you looked at what you wanted to accomplish. You became very, very clear on what was the desired outcome and started reverse engineering from there. Any advice for people who feel maybe right now that they have lost that vision or that drive, or like understanding why they're doing it?
A couple of years ago, I was on this trail run here in Arizona. And as I'm running up on this trail, I come to this summit and I'm looking down at the valley below, and I see this giant saguaro cactus. And it's so big, I'm just really impressed with it from my vantage point, and I'm hoping the trail runs alongside of it. Sure enough, the trail runs alongside of it, but now I can see the entire cactus, and I can see that the bottom third of it is rotted out to the ribs, to the skeleton of the cactus. And this cactus maybe has another season or two left in it before those ribs crack. the cactus is going to fall over and is going to die. That to me, Dave, was how I was running my life throughout most of my 20s and probably some into my 30s, which is, yes, I'm building this great business, but I'm not taking care of my body. So there's no chance I'm going to live long enough to see it succeed. Yes, I'm building this great business, but I'm not nourishing my mindset. I'm not taking care of myself. I'm stressed out every single day. Yes, I'm building this great business, but I'm not giving any time or any energy to the relationships in my life. So I don't have relationships in my life. What's going to end up happening? I build this great empire and then my wife ends up leaving me. What's the point of that? So when I get clear, when I talk about getting clear on my vision or where I want to go, it is not just these metrics in my business. What I moved was from having my success or my fulfillment be based on conditions. I'll be successful if I earn this much money. I'll be successful if I have this type of lifestyle. I'll be successful if, and putting this metric on. Instead, I realized that for me, success, for me, fulfillment was a choice that I made. And it's a choice I get to make every single day, even on days that suck. Today was a success. I feel fulfilled today. Even on days that are hard, today was a success. I'm fulfilled today. Now, does that mean I don't set goals? No, I set very rigorous goals, but I do not tie my success or fulfillment to the result of that goal. But once I've set that, and once I can make the choice of success and fulfillment, then I get to get very clear on where I want to work towards, what I want that outcome to look like. And now I enjoy the process so much more versus thinking, once I get close to this finish line, I just need to move the finish line even further and never allowing myself to cross it.
I love it, my friend. You're an example of longevity in business. You've learned these things. You create great things now, but I feel like you're very aligned with what you do, and obviously now you're kind of giving it back to others. So what do you do mostly now? Is that the fitness business coaching? What's I would say the main part of your business, because there's still a lot of moving parts.
It all comes down to we create art and opportunity, and everything we do is going to fall into art and opportunity. It's the art through my photography work, but I also consider art in, I own a graphic and web design agency. I have a video producer I work with, and all of it is creating art in some way, shape, or form. And then opportunity, we create opportunity through education and through empowering our clients to actually be able to leverage the opportunities that we're cultivating for them. So that's everything from our conference, the podcast, the coaching, the mastermind, the books. All of it is part of that opportunity vein. And anything we look at when we're trying to build our business, we build up on those verticals versus building out horizontally, because once again, we have clear vision, art and opportunity. Those are the pillars, art and opportunity. So when something else comes into our ecosystem, like we had something pitched to us, it was, oh, James, you have so many people in the health fitness industry. Why don't you white label your own supplement company? This is a slam dunk sale for you. I'm like, yeah, I mean, probably is, but is it art or opportunity? No, it's not. So we're not going to invest our time in it. Someone called me a couple of weeks ago, a top end clothing manufacturer or clothing designer, and they wanted to design a line exclusively for me and my clients. And I was like, that's cute. Is it art or opportunity? It's not. It really isn't. It doesn't benefit our clients in the way that we want to impact our clients. So as cool as it would have been, and it was totally a vanity thing, we said no to it because it doesn't align with the vision that we're setting.
I like it. And the values too, with your vision and your values, for you, if it's not part of art and opportunity, art is very clear. It's like yes or no. Art and opportunity. Is that it? Yes, no. And you keep moving. If it's a you move forward. You don't spend time looking at it and having something that is me too, or that's not going to benefit anybody. So I love that, man. So where can people find you if they're fitness pro? They want to work on building a better brand, having more exposure. What would be the starting point to get in touch with you?
I mean, easiest is always Instagram. And if they go to my Instagram, I have a free guide on the 4 steps to get your brand to stand out online in the fitness space. So my Instagram is just @jpatrickphoto, or James Patrick is my website, which links everywhere else too.
There you go. And yeah, you have quite a bit of big craft, almost 50,000 followers. You have beautiful photos on it.
Thank you.
Your covers, your photo, your great, cool self on it as well. So go follow James. He's a great a great guy. You're a good, solid dude, and I'm happy that you were here on the podcast, my friend. Really appreciate your insights, and I encourage everybody to go follow James and see what he's up to. And by the way, conferences,
yes.
So what's happening with COVID?
So the conference is called Fitposium, and in 2020 we moved it all online. 2021, we're exploring a hybrid model where it will still be online for those that don't want to spend an awesome time in Arizona in the fall, which is freaking beautiful, by the way. So we will still do that, which, when we did that last year, we had attendees from 7 countries last year at our virtual conference. That was really cool to see, because we would see people, because we had a board up of all the attendees, and we would see people in the morning, we'd see people in the middle of the night. People are like typing in, oh, it's 2 a.m. here and I'm tuning in. I'm like, that is awesome. This year, we're still going to offer that online experience. And then the hope is that here we'll be able to do something intimate for, let's just say, a small group of people who want to meet with us and some of the other presenters in person to do some more in-depth workshops. And we'll be releasing dates on that here pretty soon, but it's always fall. So you're looking at September, October of this year.
Gotcha. So what people can go, where can they go to learn more, or there's maybe a waiting list, or?
Yep. Fitposium.com is the website, or at Fitposium on Instagram.
Fitposium. Fantastic. Thank you, James. Thank you, my friend. I hope to talk to you very soon. Enjoy the beautiful spring in Scottsdale, which is fantastic. Have you hit Fox Cigar Bar yet?
No, I need to. I don't smoke cigars, so but I do need to go, because my wife and I have been looking for places because we've only lived in Phoenix for a year. As soon as we moved to Phoenix, the world closed. So we haven't been able to explore too much. So yeah, we are looking for places that we can like post up in and be regulars at.
It's never too late to pick up the great hobby of cigar smoking. But I love Fox Cigar Bar. If you guys are ever in the Scottsdale area, Fox Cigar Bar, they have one in Gilbert and they have one, but the one in Scottsdale is absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite places over there. All right, brother, have a great day. Thank you so much once again for being here. And thank you for all our listeners to tuning in again this week. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
You have just listened to the Done by Noon podcast. If you are interested in hearing more, do not hesitate to subscribe to our channel. Click on the 5 stars or check out our free tools and trainings at donebynoonpodcast.com. Thanks again for listening, and stay awesome. We'll see you next time.